Mysteries!
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of More on Math, Minecraft Mysteries, the series where I run around the world of Minecraft doing math. My name is Mr. Moore and I have some wheat. In fact, I have 20 pieces of wheat in my hand. Let's take a look at my inventory. Let's see, I have 20 pieces of wheat in my hand, and I want to use some of this wheat to make some bread, and some of this wheat to feed all the starving animals that are standing behind me. They really want this wheat, but I don't want to give it all to them. I want to save some of it to make some bread. In fact, I want to use 3/4 of the wheat that I have to make some bread. So my question is, what is 3/4 of 20? It's a mystery. In fact, it's today's Minecraft mystery. And whenever we have a mystery, we have to go to the Math Cave. Warp speed! The Math Cave! Ah, splash! Our Minecraft mystery of the day is, I have 20 pieces of wheat. I want to use 3/4 of my wheat to make bread. How much wheat will I use to make bread? Pause the video, solve the problem, and come on back when you think you have a solution. Welcome back. So let's see. 20 pieces of wheat. I don't want to use all of it. I only want to use 3/4 of it to make bread. How much of my wheat will I use to make bread? That seems tough. And when math gets tough, we go to the magical whiteboard. Push to activate. Pow! Woo! Let's make a list of what we know. I have 20 pieces of wheat, and I want to use 3/4 of that for making bread. So I need to know how many pieces of wheat will I use to make bread. Let's draw a quick picture of what's going on. Let's say this is 1 piece of wheat. Then this would be my 20 pieces of wheat. And I want to use 3/4 of this to make bread. So I'm not going to use all 20 pieces, that's for sure. Let's think about the fraction 3/4. There's lots of different ways to think about fractions. In this case, the fraction 3/4 means 3 out of 4 parts. So if I want 3/4 of my 20 pieces of wheat, what I really want is 3 out of 4 parts of 20. Well, believe it or not, when I want to know what some amount of another thing is, that is always multiplication. So this is actually a multiplication problem. So what is my numerical expression in this case? Well, in this case, the numerical expression is 3/4 times 20. And if you're wondering why that's true, that's because remember the fraction 3/4 means 3 out of 4 parts of something. And this means that I want this 3/4 of a group of 20. So I want 3 out of 4 parts of a group of 20 things. So that's why our numerical expression is 3/4 times 20. And before we do any math here, I always like to estimate. So let's think about the fraction 3/4. It's close to but less than 1, and 20 is just 20. And if 1 times 20 is 20, then something less than 1 times 20 must be less than 20. So I know I'm looking for a number less than 20, which makes sense because I don't even have one group of 20. I have less than one group of 20. So now how do I solve this? In this video, I'm going to solve it 2 different ways. I'm going to solve it using a picture, and I'm going to solve it using the standard algorithm of multiplying fractions. First, let's do a picture. If I want 3/4 times 20, I want 3/4 of 20, which remember means 3 out of 4 parts of 20. So if I want 3 out of 4 parts of 20, first I got to take my 20 things and separate them into 4 equal parts or 4 equal groups so I can keep 3 of those groups. So let me redraw this picture over here in a little more organized way. So I rearranged my 20 wheats into an array that's created by making 4 rows of 5 because I wanted 4 equal groups, so I made it into 4 equal rows. Now, I only need 3 out of 4 of those rows, so I only need 3 out of 4 of these rows. So I'm going to grab 3 out of 4 of them. So this is 3 out of 4 parts of 20 pieces of wheat. So how many pieces of wheat are in these 3 rows? Well, it's 5, 10, 15. So I have 15 pieces of wheat in these 3 rows. So 3/4 times 20 is 15. Now let's try the standard algorithm. There actually is 2 different ways to multiply this using a standard algorithm. One way is to always multiply your numerator by your whole number, but keep your denominator. So in this case, I would multiply 3 times 20, but leave 4 alone. So a baby step might look like this. So I do my numerator times my whole number, but leave it all over my denominator. Leave my denominator the same. And so 3 times 20 is 60. And so my answer is 60/4. But remember, that's an improper fraction. And although 60/4 is a correct answer, I want to rewrite it as a mixed number with a proper fraction, or no fraction at all. So 60/4 is the same as the division problem, 60 divided by 4. And 60 divided by 4 is 15. But there's another way to do it with the standard algorithm. Let me reset up my problem. Another way to solve 3/4 times 20 is to just stop thinking of it as a fraction at all and think of it as 3 divided by 4 times 20. So what I can do is I can still do the numerator times the whole number, but instead of leaving the denominator alone, I'm just going to say when I'm all done, I'm going to divide by 4. So I would think of the problem like this. 3 times 20 divided by 4. And we already know 3 times 20 is 60, and that 60 divided by 4 is 15. So all 3 times we got 15, which is a good sign, but also is 15 reasonable? Well, yes it is, because it's close to but less than 20, so I will give myself a check mark. But my answer is not complete because it's not what number, it's how many pieces of wheat will I use. So my final and complete answer is 15 pieces of wheat. And so our mystery's been solved. And that solution is 15 pieces of wheat. Don't forget your label. Mystery, bam, solved. But I've got some wheat in my hand, so let's prove it. Alright, I have 20 pieces of wheat, and I want to use 4/5 of it. I'm sorry, I don't. I want to use 3/4 of it to make bread. So to figure out what 3/4 of 20 is, and we think it's 15, I have to take my 20 wheats and break them into 4 groups of equal size. So I'm going to make 1 group of wheat there, a 2nd row of wheat, a 3rd row of wheat, and a 4th row of wheat. So I have 4 rows of wheat. Now I want to use 3/4 of this, so I only need 3 out of these 4 rows. So I'm going to grab this row. So 1 out of 4 rows is 5. That means 2 out of 4 rows will be 10 pieces of wheat, and that means 3 out of 4 rows shall be 15 pieces of wheat. So 3/4 of 20 is 15. So, not only has our mystery been solved, it's been proven. Thank you for joining me for this episode of More on Math, Minecraft Mysteries. Leave a comment or a question below. Feel free to subscribe. And join me next time for another marvelous math mystery in the world of Minecraft. And remember, if you're not confused, you're not learning. Bye-bye.
Math is fun. Math is fun. Math is fun.